Grab yourself a cup of something tasty. Today, we continue the story of Beowulf. He knoweth no evil until his share of pride wasteth and groweth, while sleepeth the guardian, the ward of his soul. And the sleep is too deep, bound up in afflictions, and the banesman draweth near who shooteth cruelly his arrows from the bow. Then in his soul under helmet is he stricken with bitter shaft, nor can he save himself from the crooked behest of the cursed ghost. And little doth he think of that which long he hath ruled, and the enemy doth covet, nor at all doth he give in boast the bladed rings. And he then forgetteth and despiseth his fate, his share of honor which God before gave him, he the wielder of wonder. And in the end it doth happen that the body sinks fleeting, and doomed to death falleth. And another succeeds thereto, who joyfully distributeth gifts, the old treasure of the earl, and careth not for terrors. Guard thee against malicious hate, O my dear Beowulf, thou noblest of men, and choose for thyself that better part, eternal wisdom. Have no care for pride, O glorious champion. Now is the fame of thy strength proclaimed for a while. Soon it will be that disease, or sword edge, or grasp of fire, or whelming of floods, grip of sword, flight of arrow, or dagger, old age will sever thee from strength. Or the luster of thine eyes will fail or grow dim. Then forthwith will happen that death will o'erpower thee, O noble man. Thus have I for 50 years held sway over the Ring-Danes under the welkin, and made safe by war many a tribe throughout the world with spears and swords, so that I reckon not any man my foeman under the sweep of heaven. Lo, then there came to me change in my homeland, sorrow after gaming, when Grendel, the ancient foe, became my invader, and ever I bore much sorrow of mind through that feud. And may God be thanked, the eternal Lord, that I lingered in life till I looked with my eyes on that head stained with sword blood after the old strife. Now go to thy seat, and enjoy the feasting, thou who art glorious in war. And when morning cometh, there shall be a host of treasures in common between us. And the Geat was glad of mind, and soon he went up to the high seat as the proud chief had bidden him. Then renewed was fair chanting as before mongst these brave ones who sat on the floor. And the helmet of night drew dark over men, and the noble warriors arose. The venerable king wished to go to his bed, the old prince of the Danes, and the Geat, the shield warrior, desired greatly to go to his rest. And straightway a Hall-Thane guided the far-comer, weary of his journey, he who so carefully attended to all his needs, such as that day the ocean-goers would fain be having. And the great-hearted one rested himself. The house towered on high, that was spacious and golden-decked. The guests slept within, until the black raven heralded the joy of heaven. Then came the sun, hastening and shining over the earth. Warriors were hurrying, and athelings were eager to go to their people. The bold-hearted comer would visit the ship far away. He, the hardy one, bade the son of Ecglaf carry forth fronting, and commanded him take his sword, that lovely piece of steel, and he gave thanks for the lending. And he said he reckoned him a good war comrade, and crafty in fighting. Not at all did he blame the edge of the sword. He was a proud man. When ready for the journey were all the warriors, then Beowulf the atheling, of good worth to the Danes, went up to the dais where was Hrothgar the faithful and bold, and greeted him there. Beowulf spake, the son of Ecgtheow. Now we, the seafarers that have come from afar, desire to say that we are hastening back to Hygelac. And here have we been nobly waited on, and well thou hast treated us. And if I then on earth can gain a whit further greater heart-love from thee, O Lord of men, than I have gained already in doing war-deeds, thereto I'm right ready. And if I shall hear o'er the sheets of waters that terrors are oppressing those who sit around thee, as erewhile thine enemies were doing upon thee, I will bring here 1,000 thanes, heroes to help thee. And I know that Hygelac, the lord of the Geats, though young in years, will help me by my word and works to bring to thee honor, and bear spear to thine aid, the help of strength, if thou hast need of men. And if Hrethric, the prince's child, should ever take service in the court of the Geat, He may find there many a friend. It is better for him who is doubting himself to be seeking far countries." Hrothgar spake, and gave him answer. "The all-knowing Lord doth send thee words into thy mind. Never heard I a man speak more wisely so young in years. Thou art strong of main, and proud of soul, and of words a wise sayer. I reckon that if it cometh to pass that an arrow or fierce battle should take away the children of Hrethel, or disease or sword destroy thy sovereign, the protector of the folk, and thou art still living, that the Sea Geats will not have to choose any better king, if thou wilt hold the kingdom of the kinsmen. Thou hast brought about peace to the folk of the Geats and the Spear Danes, and a ceasing of the strife and of the enmity which formerly they suffered. And whilst I am ruling the wide kingdom, treasures shall be in common between us, and many a man shall greet another with gifts over the sea, and the ring-necked ship shall bear over the ocean both offerings and love tokens. I know the two peoples to be steadfast towards friend and foe, and blameless in all things in the old wise." Then in the hall the prince of the earls, the son of Halfdane, gave him 12 treasures, and bade him to be seeking his own people in safety and with the offerings, and quickly to come back again. Then the king, the prince of the Danes, he of good lineage, kissed the best of the thanes, and embraced his neck, and tears were falling down the face of the old man. And the old and wise man had hope of both things, but most of all that they might see each the other, those thoughtful men in council. For Beowulf was so dear to him that he could not restrain the whelming in his bosom, but a secret longing, fast in the bonds of his soul, was burning in his breast against his blood. So Beowulf the warrior, proud of his golden gifts, went forth over the grassy plain rejoicing in treasure, and the sea-goer was awaiting her lord where she lay at anchor. And as he was going, he often thought on the gifts of Hrothgar. He was a king, blameless in every way, until old age, that scather of many, bereft him of the joys of strength. So many a proud young warrior came to the seaside, and they were carrying the ring-net, the interlaced coats of mail, and the ward of the shore noticed the going of the earls as he did their coming. Nor with evil intent did he hail the guests from the edge of the cliff, but rode up to them, and said that welcome and bright-coated warriors went to the ship of the people of the Geats. Then on the sand was a spacious craft laden with battle-weeds, the ringed prow with horses and treasure, and the mast towered high over Hrothgar's gifts. And he gave to the captain a sword bound with gold, so that by the mead bench he was by that the worthier because of the treasures and the heirloom. Then he went on board, the deep water to be troubling, and finally left the land of the Danes. And by the mast was one of the ocean garments, a sail fast by a rope. The sea-wood thundered, nor did the wind hinder the journey of that ship. The ocean-goer bounded forth, the foamy-necked one over the waves, the bound prow over the ocean streams, till they could see the cliffs of the Geats' land, the well-known headlands. Then the keel thronged up the shore, driven by the wind, and stood fast in the sand, and the harbour-master was soon on the seashore, who of yore eagerly had seen from afar the going forth of the dear men. And he made fast the wide-bosomed ship by the anchor chains, so that the less the force of the waves could tear away the winsome ship. He commanded the treasure of the nobles to be borne up the beach, the fretted armor and the plated gold, and not far thence it was for them to be seeking the giver of treasure, Hygelac, Hrethel's son, for at home he dwelleth, he and his companions near to the sea-wall. And splendid was that building, and the prince was a bold king, and the halls were high, and Hygd his wife was very young and wise and mature in her figure, though the daughter of Hareth had bided in that city but a few years. But she was not mean, nor staunchy of gifts and of treasures to the people of the Geats. But Thrithro was fierce, for she had committed a terrible crime, that bold queen of the folk. There was none that durst risk that dire thing of the dear companions, save only her lord, that he should stare on her with his eyes by day. But if he did, he might expect that death bands were destined for himself. For after the hand-grip a weapon was quickly prepared, that the sword that was curiously inlaid should bring to light and make known the death-bale. Nor is it a queenly custom for a woman to perform, though she might be peerless, that she should assail the life of a peace-wearer, of her dear lord, after a pretended insult. At least King Offa, the kinsman of Hemming, checked her in that. But otherwise, said the ale-drinkers, namely that she did less of bale to her people and of hostile acts since the time when she was first given all decked with gold to the young champion, to her dear lord, since she sought the hall of Offa over the fallow flood by the guidance of her father, Where on the throne whilst she lived, she well did enjoy her fate, that woman famous for good works. And she kept great love for the princes of heroes, and of all mankind he was, as I have learned by asking, the greatest by 2 seas. For Offa was a spear-keen man in gifts and in warfare, and wisely was he honoured. And he ruled his people wisely, and to him and Thrithro Eomar was born to the help of heroes. He, the kinsman of Hemming, the nephew of Geirmund, was crafty in battle.